Have you ever wondered why some days just don't flow? Why from the moment you wake up, it feels like the weight of the world is already on your shoulders? Maybe it's not your job. Maybe it's not people. Maybe it's not even your problems. Maybe it's that you started your day without inviting God to walk with you. Because when God is not first, everything else slowly falls out of place. But when you put Him at the center, before anything else, something shifts. Your peace becomes stronger, your decisions become clearer, and your heart finally finds rest. Listen carefully. I'm not speaking from religion. I'm speaking from something deeper, from the soul. There is a real transformation that happens when you decide to put God first. This is not magic. This is spiritual alignment. It's a renewal that comes down from heaven into your life every single morning. And the most beautiful part? You don't need to be rich. You don't need a perfect life. You don't need fancy prayers. All you need is a willing heart. A heart that seeks Him in the simplest moment. That first breath of the day. That quiet second where everything is still. And your soul is just waking up. Because just like a tree cannot grow without light, you cannot move forward without the presence of God guiding your path. And maybe, just maybe, you're watching this right now because you needed a sign, a pause, a word, a reason not to give up. So hear this clearly. This is not a coincidence. God brought you here to tell you, my child, put me first, and I will take care of the rest. And if this message is already touching your soul, help me spread it. Like this video, comment, share it. Because there are people out there right now who are desperate to hear a word like this. But they don't have a church. They don't have guidance. They don't have anyone. You can be that bridge with just one click. And before we continue, I want you to write this in the comments. God first, always. It's simple, but powerful. Write it if you're ready for God to take the first place in your morning, your day, and your life. The beginning of everything starts with your morning. What you do in the first moments after you wake up sets the tone for your entire day. It's like dropping a stone into water. The ripples expand. In the same way, your first thought, your first words, your first decision echo through the rest of your day. And if the first thing you do is seek God, then the energy you release is not anxiety, not fear, not stress. It becomes peace, clarity, confidence, spiritual strength. But most people don't start their day like that. They wake up, grab their phone, check notifications, scroll social media, read the news, worry about money, remember yesterday's problems. And without realizing it, instead of filling their heart with light, they fill it with noise. Noise that drowns the voice of God. Noise that kills hope before the day even begins. That's why putting God first is not just an option. It's a spiritual necessity. Even Jesus understood this. Despite being the Son of God, He woke up early to spend time with the Father. Scripture tells us that while it was still dark, He went to a quiet place and prayed. Think about that. If Jesus needed that connection, how much more do we? Putting God first doesn't mean repeating long prayers or following religious formulas. It means opening your soul and saying, "Here I am, Lord. I woke up today because of your grace. I give you my day. Guide me. Walk with me. Use me." It means recognizing that you are not alone and that your strength does not come only from you. It means declaring that before your thoughts, your plans, your emotions, your decisions, He comes first. There is a verse that says, "In the morning, Lord, you hear my voice." In the morning, I lay my request before you and wait expectantly. Did you catch that? Not just prayer, but expectation. Expectation that God will respond, that something will happen, that He is listening. That kind of faith changes everything. And when this becomes your habit, when every morning starts with God, you begin to notice something different. You don't react the same way to bad news. You don't fall so easily into anger. You don't drown so quickly in negative thoughts. Why? Because it's no longer just you facing the day. It's God walking with you. Morning is the beginning of a daily battle, and if you don't step out with your spiritual armor on, the world will hit you hard. That's why praying in the morning, reading a verse, meditating on a promise is not optional. It's preparation. It's saying, Lord, I don't know what today will bring, but I know who is with me. Many people look for human solutions to spiritual problems, and when nothing changes, they get frustrated. But the issue isn't what you do later. It's how you start. Putting God first is not an empty routine. It's planting in your soul the certainty that there is purpose, that your steps are guided, that no matter what happens, you already started your day the right way, holding the hand of your Creator. Maybe you've never tried this. Maybe you've tried everything else, and nothing worked. So today, try something different. Start your day with God. Talk to Him before you talk to the world. Listen to Him before you check notifications. Give Him your first thought, your first words, your first breath. Do it sincerely. And watch how that small decision starts to change everything. Because yes, there is a spiritual power that activates when you decide to put God first every morning. Not because you are perfect, but because you are humble enough to admit that without Him, you cannot. And that humility, that hunger, that sincere desire, God never ignores it. In fact, that's exactly where He begins to move the most. When God is first, everything else finds its place. There is something many people don't fully understand, but once you do, it changes everything. When you put God first, it doesn't mean your life suddenly becomes perfect. It means your life starts to make sense. It's like everything inside you was out of order before. Your thoughts, your emotions, your responsibilities, your worries. But when you give God the first place, He doesn't remove the pieces of your life. He rearranges them. And where there was chaos, He brings order. Where there was confusion, He brings purpose. There's a powerful truth that says, seek first the kingdom of God, and everything else will be added to you. Did you catch that? Not some things, not only the important things, everything. Your needs, your desires, your struggles, your future. But there's a condition. Order matters. God first, His will first, His presence first. And then, everything else begins to fall into place. Maybe not how you expected. Maybe not when you wanted, but it comes. Because when God is first, the rest stops being a burden and becomes part of a path that is already guided. But here's the problem. Most people live backwards. First work, first responsibilities, first stress, first distractions, and then, if there's time, God. And we say things like, I'm too busy. I'll pray later. I don't have time. But let's be honest. It's not about time. It's about priority. Because for what truly matters, you always make space. When you love someone, you find time for them, no matter how full your day is. And it's the same with God. When you truly want Him in your life, you seek Him, you honor Him, you put Him above everything, even above yourself. And when you do that, something begins to happen inside you that is hard to explain. Your heart starts to fill, not with things, not with achievements, but with peace. A peace that doesn't depend on what's happening outside, but on what is happening inside of you. A peace that doesn't make sense, but holds you together. And that peace cannot be bought. It cannot be earned. It cannot be manufactured. It is given. Now someone might say, but I pray, and I still have problems. I seek God, and things are still hard. And yes, that's true. This is not about eliminating problems. This is about changing how you face them. Because when God is first, you are no longer facing life with your limited strength, but with His power. Your situation may not change immediately, but you change. And that changes everything. Because when your heart is strong, the outside cannot break you. When your mind is clear, fear cannot control you. When your spirit is connected to God, darkness cannot guide you, even if the day feels heavy. And here's something even more powerful. Over time, when you consistently put God first, you begin to recognize His voice. It's no longer just a prayer in the morning. It becomes a relationship. You start feeling guidance throughout your day. A thought that tells you what decision to make. A peace that calms you when you don't understand. A conviction when you're about to go the wrong way. You begin to realize you are not walking alone. And that is worth more than anything else in this world. Many people live stressed because they want to control everything. And the more they try to control, the more everything inside them falls apart. But when you wake up and say, God, you are first. You lead my day. You guide my mind. You direct my life. Something shifts. You no longer need to control everything because you trust the one who already does. And here's a beautiful truth. When God becomes first in your life, you start discovering who you really are. Because when you get closer to Him, you begin to see yourself clearly. Not through your past, not through your pain, not through rejection, not through fear, but through His eyes. You begin to understand your value, your purpose, your identity, and that changes the way you live. Because when you know who you are in God, no one can steal your hope. Putting God first every morning doesn't just change your routine, it changes your direction. And that change may not be instant, but it is constant. It's like planting a seed. Tomorrow, it begins to grow. Later, it becomes a tree. Eventually, it gives fruit. But everything starts with one simple decision: waking up, and before anything else, saying, God. The invisible transformation that begins within. There is a truth we often forget. What happens inside you is more important than what happens around you, because you can have a difficult day, face difficult people, receive bad news, deal with problems that don't go away quickly. But if your inner world is filled with God's presence, if your heart was strengthened in the morning, then none of that can break you. Because what changes when you put God first is not just your environment, it's your response to it. And that makes all the difference. Life is not about avoiding storms. It's about having an anchor when the storm comes. And that anchor is your relationship with God. A relationship that grows stronger. Every single morning, you choose to seek Him first. There's a promise that says, perfect peace belongs to the one whose mind stays on God because they trust in Him. That means peace is not something that appears. When everything is going well, true peace is born. When you decide to trust, when you keep your mind focused on Him, when you seek Him daily, even when you're tired, even when you don't understand, even when you don't see results. Because just like your body needs food in the morning, your spirit needs direction. It needs strength. It needs comfort. It needs truth. And you will not find that anywhere else except in the presence of God. A presence that doesn't just listen, but speaks, guides, heals, prepares you for whatever is coming. Many people think putting God first is just a symbolic act, like a nice spiritual habit. But it's much more than that. It's a decision that reshapes your thinking, your attitude, your words, even the way you love others. Because when you speak with God early, He starts shaping your character. Where there was complaint, He plants gratitude. Where there was impatience, He plants self-control. Where there was fear, He plants courage. And no, you won't always feel it. There will be mornings where you don't feel like praying. Mornings where everything feels heavy. But those are the moments where it matters the most. Because faith is not about emotion. It's about decision. Putting God first won't always be easy, but it will always be worth it. Because even when you feel nothing, God is still working. Even when your words feel empty, He is still listening. Even when you are silent, His Spirit is still moving, And over time, something powerful begins to happen. God starts preparing your life. What you plant in the morning, you will harvest during the day. Every morning is a blank field, a fresh piece of ground, where you decide what you're going to plant. And whatever you plant, you will harvest later in the day. If you plant complaint, you harvest frustration. If you plant fear, you harvest anxiety. But if you plant prayer, you harvest direction. If you plant gratitude, you harvest joy. If you plant the Word of God, you harvest faith. That's why the moment you wake up is so powerful, because that is where you plant your first spiritual seed of the day. There is a principle that never fails. Whatever a person sows, that is exactly what they will reap. No exceptions. So what you speak in the morning, what you think, what you allow into your heart, it will grow. That's why putting God first is not just spiritual, it's strategic. Because when you begin your day with Him, you are already preparing a harvest of peace, of clarity, of solutions you didn't even see coming. Many people want blessings without planting connection. They want answers without seeking God's voice. They want peace, but they never pray. They want strength, but they never open the Word. And this is not about religion. This is about spiritual principles that work for anyone who chooses to live by them. If you want to see God in your day, invite Him from the beginning. And it doesn't matter how busy you are. There is always time for what is truly a priority. Sometimes it's just a simple moment. You wake up, put your feet on the ground, and quietly say, "Lord, thank you for this new day. Guide me. Walk with me. Help me hear your voice." That simple prayer, if it's real, is a powerful seed. Because it's not about how long you pray, it's about how honest your heart is. Even great leaders in the Bible understood this. Busy people, people with responsibility, people under pressure. And yet, they made time for God in the morning, not after the chaos, before it. Because they knew their protection didn't start with their strength. It started with their connection to God. And the same applies to you. It doesn't matter who you are, what you do, where you are in life. What you do at the beginning of your day determines how you face everything that follows. Over time, something beautiful happens. What started as a simple habit becomes your anchor. You don't feel right starting your day without God. You don't feel complete without at least a moment in His presence. Because you've learned something powerful. Your real strength doesn't come from you. It comes from your connection to something eternal. Putting God first in the morning is like charging your spirit with heavenly energy. It's like filling your tank before going into battle. It's like speaking with the general before stepping onto the battlefield. You're not guessing anymore. You're walking with direction. And here's the powerful part. When you are filled with God in the morning, you reflect Him during the day. Your patience changes. Your attitude changes. Your words change. And without even realizing it, you become an answer to someone else's problem. When God is first, the enemy loses ground. There is something happening in the spiritual realm every time you decide to put God first. The enemy loses influence over your day, because if he can distract you in the morning, if he can fill your mind with noise, stress, social media, negativity, then he has already won a small battle. But when you wake up, and before anything else, you connect with God, you are making a declaration in the unseen. Today I do not walk alone. And that has power. Many people underestimate that moment. They think it doesn't matter because it's short or because they don't feel anything. But that's exactly the lie. Because every time you put God first, you are building a spiritual wall around your mind, your emotions, your family, your entire day. There is a battle happening every day that you cannot see. And your greatest weapon is not your intelligence, not your strength, not your control. It is the presence of God, filling your life from the very beginning. So when you take time to pray, You are not losing time, you are gaining protection. When you read even one verse, you are filling your mind with truth. That fights the lies the world will try to plant in you. When you choose gratitude over complaint, you are positioning yourself in victory before the battle even starts. Some people say, "I don't have time in the morning." But if you look closely, there is always a moment. Even if it's 5 minutes, even if it's while getting ready, while drinking your coffee, while getting dressed. It's not about having the perfect place. It's about having the right heart. The enemy is not afraid of someone who says they believe in God. He is afraid of the person who wakes up every day and actually seeks him, because that person is not easily confused, not easily manipulated, not easily broken. That person is connected to the greatest source of power that exists. And here's something powerful. In that quiet morning moment, God doesn't just listen, he speaks. Not always with a voice you can hear, but through peace, through clarity, through a sudden understanding. And that guidance can change the entire direction of your day. Because when you don't speak with God, you walk into your day without direction. And the enemy takes advantage of that. He uses your emotions against you, your past, your fears, your wounds. But when you start your day with God, you are declaring, "Today I walk with the one who already won." And that changes everything. The reward of a life that honors God early is when you make the decision to seek God first every morning. You are doing more than building discipline. You are showing honor, and every act of honor has a reward. Not because God owes you anything, but because his nature is to respond with love to those who seek him sincerely. He sees you. He sees that moment when you are tired, when you have a lot to do, when your mind is full and still. You pause and say, "Before everything, you." And that matters in heaven. There is a promise. Those who seek God early will find him. Not maybe, not sometimes, they will. And many people ask, "Why don't I hear God? Why don't I feel his presence? Why don't I see results?" And many times, the answer is in their habits. God is not hiding. He is available. But if you always leave him for last, if you only look for him when you are already exhausted, when your mind is full of distractions, it's not that he doesn't want to speak. It's that you no longer have space to listen. But when you seek him early, when you start your day with him, you are saying with your actions, "You are the most important." And that changes everything, because now your decisions come from wisdom, not emotion. Your problems don't blind you, because you trust the one who has the answer. And that creates something powerful: stability, peace, spiritual maturity. And here's the beautiful part. God honors that, sometimes in ways you don't immediately see. Protection you didn't notice. Opportunities that suddenly appear. Ideas that come at the right moment. Strength when you thought you would give up. That is how God moves in the life of someone who puts him first. When God is first, fear loses its power. One of the greatest battles you face every single day is not outside, it's inside. Fear. Fear of the future. Fear of failure. Fear that something will go wrong. Fear that you're not enough. And the dangerous thing about fear is that it disguises itself. Sometimes it looks like anxiety, sometimes like doubt, sometimes like overthinking, sometimes like the need to control everything. But there is a way to break the power of fear. Put God first. Because when you give God your first thought, your first words, your first moment, what you are doing spiritually is this: you are releasing control. And when you release control, fear begins to lose its grip. Because now, you are not carrying everything alone. You are not trying to solve everything by yourself. You understand that no matter what happens, you are held by someone greater than your problem. There is a powerful truth. The day I am afraid, I will trust in you. Notice that it doesn't say fear will never come. It says when it comes, the response is trust. And that trust is built every single morning. That's where your spirit is strengthened. That's where God reminds you who you are. That's where He whispers, "Do not fear, I am with you." So when you start your day with God, you are not just praying. You are replacing fear with faith. You are feeding your mind with truth. Before lies try to enter, you are anchoring your heart. Before the storm even begins, there will be days when fear tries to enter suddenly. Through a phone call, through bad news, through a thought you didn't expect. But if you already spoke with God that morning, if you already planted faith, then fear may knock, but it will not stay. Because your foundation is already built. And when you live like this, you don't just change your life, you impact others. Because people can feel it. They see your calm in chaos. They hear your words and feel peace. They notice something different about you. And that difference comes from one daily decision: putting God first. Morning is the altar where intimacy is built. One of the most valuable things you can build in your life is not your schedule, not your career, not your achievements. It is your intimacy with God. And morning is the most powerful moment to build it, because everything is quiet. No noise, no distractions, no pressure, just you and Him. God is not looking for religion. He is looking for relationship. He doesn't want followers out of obligation. He wants connection. He wants closeness. And that closeness is built in the simple, quiet moments. When you choose Him first. That moment when you pause, when you breathe, when you speak to Him honestly, that becomes your personal altar. And it doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be long. It just needs to be real. There is a powerful truth. The one who dwells in the presence of God lives under His protection. Notice the word dwell, not visit, not once in a while. Live there. Because when God becomes part of your daily life, He becomes your constant answer. And intimacy doesn't happen by accident. It happens with intention. It grows every time you choose to sit with Him, to listen, to open your heart before the world takes your attention. And here's what's beautiful. That intimacy changes you without you even realizing it. One day, you react with peace instead of anger. Another day, you stay calm when everything feels chaotic. And you ask yourself, what changed? And the answer is simple. Those mornings with God. Because the one who spends time in His presence walks with His power. Consistency opens doors that anxiety cannot. One of the greatest blessings of putting God first every morning is not what happens instantly, but what happens over time. Because we live in a world that wants everything fast. Fast results, fast answers, and fast emotions. But God works in processes. He shapes your life slowly, carefully, intentionally. That's why consistency matters. Because what transforms your life is not one powerful prayer once in a while. It's daily connection, even when you don't feel anything. Even when nothing seems to change. There is a truth. Do not grow tired of doing what is right, because at the right time, you will harvest if you do not give up. That right time is not your time. It's God's time. And while that moment comes, your job is simple. Keep showing up. Keep seeking. Keep trusting. Keep putting Him first. Because anxiety will try to rush you. It will tell you, if you don't see results now, it's not working. But that's a lie. Because some doors only open through consistency. And every morning you choose God, you are making a declaration. Before anything else, you. And that creates emotional stability that nothing external can break. Because when your life is anchored in something eternal, temporary problems lose power over you. There are people who live reacting to everything. If things go well, they feel good. If things go wrong, everything falls apart. But those who seek God every morning live from the root, not the surface. Their strength is not in circumstances, but in the presence of God within them. And over time, What started as a simple habit becomes a source of power. Gratitude, the key to a transformed heart. One of the biggest changes that happens when you put God first is that your heart learns gratitude. Because instead of starting your day focused on what you lack, you begin focusing on what you already have. Instead of thinking about yesterday's problems, you recognize today's mercy, and that simple shift changes everything. Complaint drains your soul. It weakens you from the inside. And the worst part is, sometimes you don't even notice it, but when you wake up, and the first thing you say is, "Thank you, God," something shifts in the spiritual realm. You are choosing faith over negativity. You are choosing hope over frustration. You are remembering that you are still breathing. God is still in control, and you still have another chance. Gratitude doesn't just change your mood. It changes your perspective. It changes your prayer. Because now, you're not just asking, you're trusting. You're not speaking from desperation, but from confidence. And when you live like that, you start noticing the small blessings. A smile, a moment of peace, an opportunity, things others ignore. You begin to see as gifts. And here's something powerful. When the enemy wants to ruin your day, the first thing he will try to steal is your gratitude. Because if he can make you complain, he disconnects you from joy. But if you wake up and say, "Thank you, God, for this day, for your presence, for what I have, and for what is coming," then he already lost. So every morning, you have a choice: complain, or give thanks, rush into the day, or walk with God. Carry everything alone, or trust the one who holds everything together. And if you choose God, if you choose Him first, day after day, something inside you will change. Something real, something deep, something unshakable. Because a person who walks with God in the morning does not walk the same for the rest of the day. So tomorrow, before you check your phone, before you speak to anyone, before you step into your routine, pause, breathe, and say, "God, you first."